put yourself in their shoes, okay? I want you, and some of you are in their shoes, right? Some of this is a lot easier for others because you wear two hats. You're an agent some days, or part of some days, and the other part of some days you are a real estate appraiser. So you get it.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast.
Minisode.
So I know that it's not just appraisers that listen to this program. I know for a fact that there are real estate agents, loan officers, and others across the country. They're not plentiful. I mean, this show is for real estate appraisers, right? But I do know that there are real estate agents that listen. And probably some of them are going to be more attracted to the title of this one than others. But just to give you a heads up, I think this is going to be a good episode for both real estate appraisers, and I actually think my realtor friends will enjoy it as well. I want to pause here, remind you, of course, we are sponsored by ANOW Software. ANOW, of course, is it's the software that I've been using for years and years and years. And the reason I'm doing it is because it makes my life so much easier. Check it out. Go to anow.com/coach. One more time, it's anow.com/coach. All right, folks, just got off the phone with one of my coaching clients. Very upset he is, and rightfully so. I won't go into all. Well, I'll give you enough of the detail that it won't reveal who he is or his situation. But I think we can all relate. So he had a situation where he was dealing with an appraisal that was quote unquote coming in low, right? You know, I hate that term, but that's the term they use, right? It's coming in low. In other words, it's coming in below the purchase price. Well, the problem is there were several things that the appraiser noticed on the inspection that the real estate agent not only did not disclose, but flat out lied about. Okay, I'll give you that much information. Flat out lied to the buyers, and the buyers are going into it sight unseen. And of course, my real estate appraiser friend, my client, feels an obligation, rightfully so, to point these things out because they affect value. It's not like they're some obscure thing that he has no business in. I mean, he's in the business of valuation, and specifically, he's in the business of valuing this particular property, right? It's his obligation to point out these things that affect value. And of course, the real estate agent is very upset, says that he's going way beyond his scope of work, and he called me to get a little advice. I'm not going to go into the advice I gave him because it really doesn't have anything to do with this episode, but how often do we have these kinds of similar situations where we're dealing with other real estate professionals? And yes, real estate agents are real estate professionals, and appraisers are real estate professionals, and loan officers are real estate professionals. And I see them all this way, right? And they're just people. But how often do we get into that kind of a situation where we're dealing with angry professionals, people who are upset for whatever reason? The damn appraiser came in too low, or he didn't use my comps, or she wouldn't meet me on the inspection, or I don't know, the appraiser won't give me a copy of the appraisal. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, and we deal with these things on a pretty regular basis. I'm going to give you maybe a new way of thinking, a different way of thinking when we get back from the break. Speaking of a different way of thinking, have you thought about how you are running your business? How are you keeping track of your appraisals? How are you keeping track of due dates? How are you keeping track of, if you've got a multi-appraiser office, where everybody is, their schedules, what they're doing, what they're working on, where they're at in each of the processes, the assembly line, if you will, of the appraisal process? How do you keep track of all that, folks? I'll tell you how I do it. I do it very easily because I do it through ANow software. Folks, if you've not seen their free demo, you need to check it out. Just go to anow.com/coach and ask them to help you to see the light. Help you to see why ANow software can change the way that you do business and keep track of everything in your business. It's anow.com/coach. One more time, anow.com/coach. All right, folks, we're talking today about a situation that appraisers find themselves in on a regular basis. Now, the topic matter might change, but the problem is still the same. And the problem is even though we are both real estate professionals, and I want to stress that, both agents and appraisers I see as real estate professionals, you still have this situation where we get to this impasse sometimes where neither side is happy, or maybe one side is very unhappy and the other side, can't please. And folks, first of all, it's not abnormal. First of all, it happens to all of us. I don't care how great of an appraiser you think you are. I don't care how great of a business you think you run. I don't care how much time you spend out visiting real estate offices and contacting real estate agents and connecting with them and networking and going to Kiwanis Club together, right? I don't care how much time you spend there. You're going to have, if you're in this business for more than just a few months, you're going to have these situations where you end up at a disagreement with another professional. And often that disagreement is with a real estate agent. Why? Well, folks, think about it for a second. I want you to step back for just a second, and I want you to just maybe try some understanding. I know, kumbaya, right? But I want you to put yourself in the realtor's shoes, okay? By the way, I got to take a side note here. If you've seen Santa Clarita Diet, there is a great scene in there where they talk about the difference between realtor and realtor. Absolutely love it. By the way, I copied that link or that video, and I'm going to show it at the next meeting I have with realtors, or realtors, as the case may be. Okay, sorry for the side note. Put yourself in their shoes, okay? I want you, and some of you are in their shoes, right? Some of this is a lot easier for others because you wear two hats. You're an agent some days, or part of some days, and the other part of some days you are a real estate appraiser. So you get it. You understand. Folks, a real estate appraiser is, by definition, an unbiased third party, okay? Your job, lest I remind you, is to remain completely unbiased in the transaction. Your job is to basically say, this is what the market is saying about this property. Okay, I have done the analysis, I have done the research, I have done the work, and I can tell you that this is what it looks like. This is what this home is worth, okay? Regardless of what's on the table as far as the purchase goes. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm very aware that it is your job, according to the USPAP, to analyze all current data, including any current listings, pendings, contracts, what have you. I get that, and that can play into the process. I get it, okay? But that's not what I'm talking about here. Ultimately, your job has to be an unbiased third party. All right, let's flip the table a little bit. Let's stand up, walk around, and sit in the other chair. As a real estate agent, it is your job to be biased. You're an agent. Think about the term agent and what agent means. Look at the definition of an agent or a broker. Right? It is your job to represent your client. It is your job to work in the best self-interest of your client. And I know some of you are screaming at the earbuds right now and saying, Dustin, that's what I'm saying. It's their job to protect their client. And yet here I am saying that they're paying too much for a property. And what do? No, they get mad at me. I get it. And I get it. Okay? But here's what I want you to do today. And I think I'm hoping to give you a recipe so that when these things happen in the future, that you can simply step back, take a deep breath. Okay, let's see this for what it really is. Here's what it really is, folks. Real estate agents, yes, they're professionals, but they're also human beings. And they're human beings that have a desire to get a commission. Okay? If they were not paid for what they do, just like you, okay? If you were not paid to be an appraiser, I'm guessing 99.9% of you would go find other work. Okay? I mean, sure, it's fun. I get paid to peek in people's closets, but at the end of the day, my favorite part of appraising is getting paid. I think you're probably the same way. And I know agents are the same way as well, and they work, and I know what you're going to say. Yeah, Justin, all they do is put a sign out there and stick it on the MLS. They don't really work. Guess what, folks? I know a lot of real estate agents, they work, and they work hard, and they do their job. And folks, frankly, there's a reason I'm not an agent. No thanks, right? My dad was an agent. I saw what he went through. I saw the stuff he did. And I have nothing but empathy for real estate agents. They have a hard job. They do. They've got to drop things on Sunday afternoon because somebody's in from out of state and wants to see a property, and that's the only time they can see it. They have to get phone calls at 8 p.m. They have to be constantly reassuring. They have to be working in legalese and the documents. And folks, listen, trust me when I say I get it. Okay? It's not easy being a real estate agent. It's not. And there's a reason I don't do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to be that person. Okay? But I understand that person. At least to the level that I can. Okay? Nothing worse. When you've been married as long as I have, okay, and when you go to your wife and you say, I understand, okay? Those of you have been, then, I'm trying to be empathetic, right? And she's going to turn to me and say, no, you don't. You're not a woman. You don't know what PMS feels like. She doesn't talk like that. She talks very sweetly. My wife does. So here's the deal, folks. Here's the thing. Here's the bottom line. Okay? Agents are people. They are biased. And it's no wonder they act the way that they do. Okay? It's fine. When you look at it that way, when you see it for what it is. Okay? Now, I'm not excusing this real estate agent that lied. Okay? There's no excuse for lying, especially in something as big of a transaction as a purchase of a home. Okay? Absolutely zero, no tolerance for that. Okay? But when an appraiser is being pushed for value, now what I mean by that is not where it crosses the line, not where it becomes immoral, illegal, unethical. I'm simply saying that when you show up to a property and the agent points out all of the great things about the property but mentions none of the other things. You see what I'm talking about, right? Okay. No wonder they do that. No wonder they show up with a stack full of comps and hand it to you and say, I hope you'll consider these. Okay? No wonder they're upset when you quote unquote come in low. Of course they're going to be upset. Of course they're going to be upset. And when you look at it that way, to me, it's not so bad, really. It just is all in a day's work. When you look at it that way, I think of the story of when I was young, President Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill was the Speaker of the House, right? They were about as at odds with each other politically as any two people can be, okay? On one side, Ronald Reagan, very, very staunch conservative. On the other side, you got Tip O'Neill, who was as liberal as they come, right? And they would fight and bicker and scream and yell and call each other's names, and then they would go have drinks together at night. And they were friends, right? I want you to think about that for a second, okay? They were both doing their jobs. Ronald Reagan was doing his job representing his constituents. Tip O'Neill was doing his job representing his constituents, and the balance of powers and the checks and balances that we learned about in 6th grade, they work, right? But at the end of the day, they were just people. They were two professionals doing their job during the day. At the end of the day, they were friends. I want you to think about that story next time you get angry at a real estate agent. Are you tired of realtors who you feel are clueless? Are you tired of agents who you feel get upset for no good reason? Folks, they have a good reason, right? They have skin in the game. So maybe we should give him a break a little bit. Okay? We've still got to do our job. We've still got to remain an unbiased third party. Okay? But at the end of the day, they're just people doing their jobs, as are you as real estate agents doing your job. Speaking of your job, do you want to know how to do it better, more efficiently, more effective? Folks, I have a whole slew of webinars that are up on my website right now. You can go to theappraisercoach.com/products. Go to theappraisercoach.com/products. And if you want to learn how to do anything in your business better, join my all-star team. You get any and all of those webinars for free. Again, theappraisercoach.com/products.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.
But how often do we get into this situation where, damn appraisers coming in low, or this, that, or the other, or I guess the dog's going to bark. All right, starting over that part. By the way, there is a great, as a side note, if you've seen Santa Clara Diet, there is a great, oh, sorry, editor, let's back up to that part.